I was not ready for the way she turned it into a joke. Ashley twirled her wine and said, clear as a punchline, I care about you, but I am not in love. The table laughed. The skyline behind her sparkled like the backdrop for a bad comedy. A couple of her friends hid their giggles behind their napkins. One of the venture capital guys said, savage, and raised his glass to salute her. I sat right there beside her with my hands folded in my lap. I did not argue. I did not flinch. I kept a small, steady smile. I remember the scrape of steak knives on plates and the smell of truffle oil. I remember how Ashley leaned the slightest bit away from me after the laughing died down, like I was now something too familiar to touch. It felt like she had just filed the final papers on a private freedom, and I was supposed to thank her for the favor. She had no idea what she had set in motion. Back at the apartment that night, she remembered to call home only sometimes. I let her take the shower first. I even asked if she wanted me to heat the tea she liked. She mumbled something dismissive, a towel wrapped around her hair, already scrolling on her phone. She was probably texting one of those unfiltered group chats, telling them how I took it well. The second she closed the bathroom door, I opened the photo folder on my personal server, the one I had called Us. It lived on an encrypted drive she never had the password for. I deleted it. No hesitation. Not because I was broken. The problem was the opposite. I felt nothing. Not anger. Not sadness. Just a clear plan forming. Then I opened a folder called Exit Plan. Quick note for anyone listening to this kind of story. More than 90% of people never subscribe, and it really helps the crew make more stories like this. If you are still here, please click the button. You will not regret it. I had not touched that folder in almost 14 months. I created it after she accidentally video called me from a hotel room she swore belonged to her stylist. In the mirror behind her, I could see the shape of a man shaving. I did not confront her. I do not move on impulse. I write things down. I watch. I build exits the way you draw up a house you hope you never have to live in. Inside that folder, I kept asset logs. I kept digital copies of signed transfer authorizations. I kept paperwork to revoke powers of attorney. I kept a timeline built from whispers she did not know I heard. A lawyer I trust told me once, do not serve cold revenge. Serve it silently. Let them think it is just the weather. Ashley thought I was weather. She was good at mistaking quiet for weakness. She liked to say I had grandfather energy. She called my routines cute. She rolled her eyes when I said, grace matters more than noise. That rooftop dinner felt like a celebration to her, a little flag she planted to mark her independence. She did not know that half the men at that table had already chosen my side. I did not say one word to break the mood. The next morning, I watched her practice a surprised face for a magazine feature about her charity work. She even rehearsed her shocked laugh in the mirror. I sipped my coffee and looked at her. She caught me staring. What? She asked. Nothing, I said. Just thinking about what people find funny. She smiled like she had won something. At 58 years old, I am calm, careful, and quiet. She decided that meant harmless. What she never understood is that I spent decades learning one very useful skill. I know how to remove people from systems they believe they command. She thought she set the story, picked the tone, and defined what we were. She never stopped to consider what I had built, which rooms I still controlled, and which foundations had my name carved on the underside, not hers. She believed love was her leash, and that she had just cut me loose. I let her believe it. Then I started pulling the small pins she had never noticed I put in place. 2 years ago, at the Riverton Preservation Gala, she introduced me to a man while wearing that smug look she saved for moments she thought made me look important. This is Caleb Morgan, she said. He is a nobody with a checkbook. She said it loud enough for me to hear. Then she added, he runs some mid-level arts fund. He likes old buildings and older whiskey. I nodded, shook Caleb's hand, and did what I always do. I listened. What Ashley did not know is that Caleb was not mid-level, and he was not old money either. He was smart money. The kind that moves quiet, bets on long timelines, funds what pays off later, and remembers who smirked during introductions. Caleb and I kept in touch. Nothing flashy. A few lunches. A few emails. Over time, I brought him into one of my advisory circles. I never told Ashley. Why would I? She was busy polishing a persona she called social alchemist, turning internet shine into invitations and guest passes. Fast forward to last week. My assistant, Emily, flagged something. For your information, she wrote. Ashley submitted a please respond to the Delancey Arts Gala. She used your name for patron tier access again. I know you declined that last month, so I am guessing this is not authorized. She attached a screenshot. It showed Ashley's full name, my credentials, and her forged signature on the request for a +1. That was the moment I set the mug down and started dialing. Not her. No speech, no scene. I called Caleb. He picked up on the second ring. She is using my name to get through your door, I said. A short pause. Do you want her out? Permanently. He did not ask for a reason. He did not need one. 2 hours later, her please respond was quietly voided. No message to her. No grand reply. Just her name removed by the same board she believed she could charm. Ashley had spent years playing the brilliant accessory, the sharp younger girlfriend with an eye for what looked important. She tossed buzzwords at fundraisers and practiced her generous donor face in the mirror. She thought access was style. She did not see the beams and braces. I was the one who laid those in place. She liked to say she wanted freedom. She said it like a dare, as if breaking away from me would launch her into a carefully curated awakening. What she did not grasp was that a lot of what she called freedom was on loan. The lease had run out. That week, I noticed something else. Caleb had been added to our internal foundation team chat, the one I had been building for 7 years. It was not for show. It was for leverage. Quiet men. Powerful women. Old allies. Ashley did not know their names, but they knew hers, and they watched. Emily dropped a note under the please respond thread. Let me know if I should notify additional hosts. We can flag this as non-compliant use of patron access. I wrote back one word. Flag. No arguments. No dramatic emails. Just lights going dark, one by one, in rooms she believed she illuminated. The best part was that she kept smiling into the front-facing camera, posting mirror photos with captions about being busy and blessed and ready for Delancey nights. She had no clue the door behind her was already being welded shut. Ashley built her world on assumed invitations and assumed authority. She assumed I was background, a banker with taste and no spine. She was about to learn that the softest voice at the table is often the one who decides who gets a chair. And she was already losing hers. It started with an email. Subject, update regarding your please respond, Delancey Arts Gala. Body, we regret to inform you that your attendance at this year's event has been reconsidered due to changes in our guest list criteria. Your reservation has been withdrawn. We appreciate your past support. No signature. No explanation. A digital shrug. Ashley blinked at it twice, then laughed. Probably a mix-up, she thought. She forwarded it to her former public relations intern with a casual line. Hey, can you fix this? Then she moved on. She had already posted a teaser of her gown for the event. Delancey ready. Clinking glasses, let us light up the room. No reply came. Not from the host. Not from the intern. Nothing. She gave it a day, then 2, and finally scrolled through her contacts to find Caleb's number. She still had him saved as Whiskey Guy Gala. She texted him. He left her on read. Even then, she was not worried. Not yet. Then Megan called. Ashley answered on speaker while rolling serum across her cheeks in the mirror. Good morning, Ashley said. Can you believe they are gatekeeping the gala now? I swear this city. Megan cut in. Do you even know who you are with? That made Ashley pause. She lowered the jade roller. What are you talking about? I mean, you must know, right? You have been with him for years. Ashley gave a quick laugh. What is he? Some secret agent? You sound like you watched a conspiracy show. No, Megan said. Not that. Worse. He is the kind of person who can erase your name from a guest list without being in the room. Silence. Ashley's smile dimmed a shade. Wait, what are you saying? I do not know everything, Megan said, voice tight, like someone who just realized the floor under them is glass. But I heard something at the studio brunch. People talking about pulling names and removing legacy access. Then I saw Caleb's face when your name came up. It went cold. Executive cold. Ashley sank onto the edge of the tub, serum drying on her skin. He would not do that. He is not like that. He is quiet, Megan said. Exactly. Quiet can mean control, not passivity. That word hung between them. Control. You told me once he is just good for stability, Megan added. You said he knows his lane. Heat rose in Ashley's neck. He does. I mean, he is not. Not what? Megan asked. Not powerful. I did not say that. You did not need to. They hung up soon after. Ashley told herself Megan was being dramatic. People exaggerate. I did not care about social games. I hated that scene. That was part of why she liked dragging me into it. I made her look grounded. Or maybe I only made her look like she was. When she tried to resubmit her please respond from a different email address, it bounced back. When she tried to send a direct message to the event coordinator, there was no reply. That night, she checked the Delancey Gala social page. There was a short video of a seating chart. Most of the name cards were blurred, except one in the center. It read, Michael Reed. She stared at the screen and then looked up at herself in the mirror. For the first time in years, the woman looking back at her did not seem untouchable. The first domino had dropped. The sound it made was not loud. It was precise, like a surgeon's cut. The worst part for her was that she did not know how many more cuts were already lining up. At 6:12 in the morning, an email landed. That is early for a public relations shop that usually does not start spinning until the almond lattes show up. Subject line, representation update. Body, due to internal restructuring, we regret to inform you that we will no longer be able to support your media engagements moving forward. We appreciate the opportunity to have worked with you and wish you continued success. No phone call. No warning. Not even a courtesy carbon copy to her agent. Ashley sat up in bed and stared at the screen. For a second, she thought it had to be a mistake. She started a reply. Hi, friend, is this real? And then stopped. No one on that team was friend anymore. She refreshed. Nothing changed. 30 minutes later, her social inbox lit up, but not with fan chatter or brand offers. It was all confusion. Is the face serum launch canceled? Why did Solskin delete your promotional video? Did they drop you? Ashley blinked hard and opened Solskin's page. The collaboration post was gone. In fact, the entire influencer spotlight section had vanished like it never existed. She called her contact. Straight to voicemail. She sent 2 texts. Hey, is something wrong with the campaign? No answer. Then a final message came back. 1 line. No emoji. No warmth. It has been advised we create distance. You should speak with Michael. She let the phone fall onto the sheets. For the first time in years, the shine on her confidence cracked. Not because of a scandal. Not because of an expose. Because of absence. No accusations. Just space opening around her, clean and quiet. She tried to distract herself and posted a throwback from last year's museum fundraiser with a caption. Always forward, direct hit. # art lovers. Within minutes, 3 people who had liked her post unfollowed her. A text came in from Elise, a former co-chair at the Downtown Foundation. They had not spoken in months. The message hit like a tranquilizer dart dipped in acid. What did you do to Michael? That was it. No greeting. No context. Just a question that assumed everything. She stared at it, and then stared back at her screen. What had she done? In her mind, she had told the truth at dinner. She said she cared but was not in love. That was supposed to be brave. Honest. The way people say they want it now. Authentic. She did not shout. She did not cheat. She did not break anything on purpose. But her words had split something deeper, and the water started pulling back like the tide before a wave you do not want to meet. Invitations stopped showing up. One after another. Events she had not even sent a please respond for suddenly filled. Even her assistant, quiet, loyal, and steady for 3 years, asked to move to freelance work. I was in my kitchen with the morning sun on the counter when I pictured her standing in hers, barefoot on the heated floor, holding a crystal glass of orange juice, meeting something new. Irrelevance. She used to tease me for skipping panels and ducking the cocktail circuit. She called me Mr. Anti-Scene with a smile in public and an edge in private. Now she was the one outside the glass, and the people inside did not look back. The scariest part was not that doors closed. It was that no one felt the need to explain. When she first saw the red banner across the top of the shared login page, she figured it was a glitch. Access denied. Your account has been suspended. Pending verification. She refreshed. She tried the backup email. Same result. The shared household account, the one tied to utilities, the penthouse upkeep fees, even the biometric settings for the private elevator, was locked. She opened the app. Blank. No name. No user privileges. At first, she told herself it was a system update I forgot to mention. I do hate notifications. Maybe I did not even know it had signed her out. She slipped on sandals, threw on a robe, and took the private elevator down to the front desk. Eli was working. Pressed shirt. Polite face. Only now there was a new chill in it. Good morning, Miss Turner, he said. Professional. Not friendly. Not rude. Just cold. Hey, strange question, she said. I cannot get into the building account, and my key fob will not open the gym. Is the system down? Eli looked at his screen. No, ma'am. Systems are normal. Then what is going on? He cleared his throat. Mr. Reed requested that all non-primary residents have guest privileges revoked. She gave a short laugh. Guest privileges? I live here. Eli hesitated. Not according to the updated lease. Something stiffened in her posture. Let me speak to Michael. Or to your building manager. This is ridiculous. A couple on their way to brunch slowed as they passed, just for a second. Ashley's voice rose. I'm not a stranger, Eli. I co-hosted the last 3 fundraising receptions in the Sky Lounge. I understand, he said, but our instructions came from legal. Everything has been updated in accordance with tenancy law. Legal. Right then, like a stage cue, Malcolm Shaw walked in. Not just any attorney. My attorney. The one who drafted the staggered trust disbursements, the multi-property ownership restructures, the exit clauses that do not leak. He carried his briefcase, nodded to Eli, and never even turned his head toward Ashley. She stepped forward. Malcolm. Nothing. Not a flinch. He pressed the elevator button, waited, stepped in, and was gone. Eli told me later how it looked from his side of the desk. Ashley stood in the marble lobby in a robe, a few strands of hair slipping out of the clip at the back of her head. A couple down by the elevators started whispering. Whether they were talking about her or not did not matter. Her cheeks went red. She turned back to Eli. You are saying I cannot go up? I am saying the system will not let you, he answered. Not, I am sorry. Not, let me help. Just a line laid down in code and law. Her phone buzzed. An alert. Your access to smart home features has been revoked by the administrator. She read it twice. Months earlier, when I explained that the entire apartment ran through a single point of control, she laughed and called it dangerous. What if someone locks me out? She asked. I did not look up from my tablet. Then you would probably deserve it, I said. She took it as a joke. Standing in that air-conditioned lobby, she finally understood the punchline. The cold she felt was not from the vents. It was from not knowing where she stood, not in the building, not in my life, not even in her own story. I sent the invitation as a text message. No preamble, no emoji, just a location, a time, and 2 words. Let us talk. Dinner. She told Megan later that her pulse jumped when she saw it. Not panic, not hope. Something deeper, like the feeling of grabbing for the wheel. She spent close to an hour choosing what to wear and settled on deep navy silk, fitted, elegant, and familiar, the kind of dress I used to pause at when the zipper reached the small of her back. She wore the perfume I once called hypnotic. She arrived 15 minutes late on purpose, like she wanted to prove some old dynamic still lived. It did not land. I was not keeping time for her anymore. I chose a small table by a window in a private club behind unmarked doors. Quiet. Paneled. Timeless. The faces around us were not the ones she knew. Older men in tailored jackets. Women who did not need or want a social media presence. The kind of wealth that never flashes because it never has to. I stood when she walked in. No smile. No kiss on the cheek. A simple nod. She slid into the chair opposite me. Was not sure you still used words, she said, tossing her clutch on the table. I always use words, I said, opening the wine list. I just do not use them when applause is the goal. We ordered. The quiet between us settled like a slow drift of smoke. Why now? She asked after the server left. After all this, the public relations firm, the accounts, the building, why dinner? I looked at her for the first time in weeks. Really looked. So you would understand, I said. Silence does not mean weakness. She scoffed. You think this proves something? I did not answer. I reached into my blazer and set a small white envelope on the table. Read it. Inside was a single-page letter. Typed. Formal. Notarized. Revocation of power of attorney. Effective immediately. Signed, witnessed, processed. Her eyes lifted. You are revoking my power of attorney. I already did, I said. I wanted you to see it face to face. She glanced down again and found the line confirming her removal from all financial oversight roles in the family trust. Then she noticed the second page. A list. At first it made no sense to her. Then the names clicked. The foundations. The ones she chaired. The Literacy Fund. The Midtown Arts Circle. The Women's Equity Initiative. and the role she liked to list as brand steward. Each one marked vacated. Each one followed by a new appointee. Not a single entry had her name. "They are mine," she said quietly, scanning the paper again. "These were mine. They were yours because I put your name on the documents," I said. She looked up, eyes sharp. "So I was a placeholder? You were a projection," I said. "I built it that way because I believed you believed in the work. When that illusion broke, the utility did too." She fell back against the chair like the air had left her lungs. I did not raise my voice. I did not gloat. That is what made it land. "You do not have to destroy me to make a point," she said, voice unsteady. "This is not destruction, Ashley," I said. "It is subtraction. Quiet. Clean. You subtracted your love. I subtracted everything else." The server set down our plates. I thanked him. She did not touch her food. The room kept moving. Low conversation. Forks against china. A world that did not require her presence. I wiped my mouth, stood, and set cash on the table. "No security," I said. "No scene. Just a man letting go of what no longer fits." I walked out. Behind me, she sat in a dress that suddenly felt too tight, wearing a perfume no one noticed, holding a stack of pages that made one thing plain. She had never owned the power she waved around. She had borrowed it, and the loan had come due. Megan told me what happened that afternoon. She knocked like she was bringing bad news to a church door. Soft. Careful. 2 beats, then a pause. Ashley opened up wearing sunglasses and a silk robe at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. No makeup. No persona. No curated version. Just a woman standing ankle-deep in the wreckage she once swore was fireproof. Megan stepped inside with a small folder and 2 iced coffees. "I did not know if you would want one," she said, offering the drink like a peace treaty. Ashley took it without a word and dropped onto the couch. Megan stood for a moment, fidgeting with the folder. "Okay," she said at last. "Promise you will not bite my head off." Ashley pushed the sunglasses up. "After this week, I might bite off someone's hand if it is holding answers." "Fair," Megan said, and opened the folder. She laid out a stack of printouts, some from public databases, some from internal portals that only donors and staff can reach. Megan spread the papers across Ashley's coffee table. Internal Revenue Service Form 990 filings. Foundation tax returns. Donor acknowledgments. Board restructuring memos. Ashley stared, lips parting. "What am I looking at?" she asked. "Patterns," Megan said. "Michael told me to look." Not directly. "Last year at a fundraiser," he said. "Silence leaves paper trails if you know where to follow them." I did not get it then. I do now. "Wait. He told you to look?" "After the Delancey mess, I ran into him," she said. "He asked how you were. I said I did not know. He nodded and said, she should look at the filings. That is where the truth lives." Then he walked away. Ashley grabbed a page. Midtown Literacy Fund. Chair, Michael Reed. Vice Chair, Lydia Park. No mention of Ashley. Not even in an archive role. It was like she had never existed in the chain of command. Her hand shook. "But I founded this with him," she said. "No," Megan said gently. "You thought you did. It was always under his name. You were on press releases and social posts and in photos. Never in the structure. Never on paper." "What about the Women's Equity Council?" Ashley said. "His as well," Megan answered. "He used donor-advised funds and quiet contributors. Silent leverage. He made you visible. But the levers," she held up a finger. "The levers were always behind his curtain." Ashley stood and started pacing. "Why would he do that? Why not tell me?" Megan gave her a look that said, "Come on." The folder slid off Ashley's lap when she sank back into the couch. I did not hear the scream, but Megan did. Ashley tried to call me first. Straight to voicemail. Tried again. Blocked. She hurled the phone. It hit a cushion, then the floor. She buried her face in a pillow and let out a raw, rib-cracking sound that had no polish on it at all. When it ended, the room's quiet felt louder than the scream. Megan sat beside her and spoke in a low voice. "I think he loved you more than anyone. That is the only reason you ever got that close." Ashley did not answer. I heard later that was the moment the shape of it finally clicked for her. She had not been standing beside me. She had been carried. And I had set her down, gently but for good. The next part won no because it hit the wire services. It was a regular Tuesday. Ashley sat at her kitchen island, robe tied too tight, spooning almond yogurt on autopilot, when her phone buzzed with a news alert tied to her name. She had set that alert years ago when magazines still cared about skincare routines and gala gowns. This time her name was not in the headline. Mine was. The piece was about Midtown's arts expansion. There was a photo. Same navy suit she used to joke made me look like a funeral director. I was shaking hands with two city officials. Behind us stood a bronze model of the new performing arts complex. She opened the article. The line that made her jaw tense read like this. While many associate Midtown's cultural expansion with flashy donors and public relations, savvy influencers, insiders say the true driving force is Michael Reed, a longtime silent backer, strategist, and board consultant whose quiet philanthropy spans more than a decade. She read it 3 times. Then another story dropped in Civic Culture Weekly, the one insiders actually read. Similar angle, different frame. I had an arm around the mayor. We were both smiling like we shared a secret that had been earned, not posted. Her name was not there. Not in the copy. Not in the photo tags. Not even in the list of past gala supporters. Megan told me Ashley let the spoon fall into the yogurt with a soft tap and caught her breath. She opened the gala's official page. There I was at the piano unveiling. There with the arts commissioner. There speaking briefly, no microphone, just a note card and a fixed gaze. Then the wide shot. Me on the museum steps with the mayor. Flowers. Lights. A new installation with my name on it. The Reed Wing for visual integrity. Under the photo, a caption, Legacy does not need volume. It needs clarity. Ashley went white. She had stood on those same steps a year earlier, waving at photographers and air-kissing council members, offering sound bites about women in art, while I held her coat off to the side. She thought that was sweet. She thought it was endearing. It was camouflage. She called 3 board contacts. Voicemail. One texted back an hour later with a single sentence. Michael asked us not to involve you further. It is already complicated. She wanted to throw the phone again. She did not. She kept scrolling. Under every photo, the comments rolled in. Finally, the real name behind the work. This guy has been pulling strings for years. Proof you do not have to shout to be powerful. No one asked where she was. No one said they missed her. The world that once clung to her name moved on without noise. No exit statement. Just a clean cut and a new headline. She was not edited out. She had never been written in. And now she could only watch while the man she underestimated rewrote the story without her. She refreshed the page again, just to be sure. Still gone. I checked the website that afternoon because I knew she would. The Aurora Women's Equity Collective looked sharp, clean layout, modern type, not a single trace of Ashley. No mention of her in the About Us section. No photo from last year's summit where she sat on a panel and got a standing ovation for saying what everyone already knew out loud. The founder's page had been rebuilt. Minimal portraits, short bios, that soft focus professionalism people love, and right up top, in a simple serif, it read, Michael Reed, founding patron. She must have scrolled fast, hunting for her name in some legacy corner. There was nothing. Her old titles, co-chair, development lead, strategic advisor, were gone like dry erase ink wiped with a clean cloth. She tried the old team email group she used to moderate. It bounced. She sent a note to her direct address. Undeliverable. She did not even know when the edit had happened. That is the part that stings the most. No scandal. No messy fight. Just a quiet edit and a clean page. Still, she put on beige silk and heels and went to the collective's fall showcase. She told herself she was there as a supporter, that she did not need her name and lights to care about the cause. Deep down, she needed to be seen. She needed proof the ground had not shifted without her. The gallery buzzed with polite talk, mellow jazz, and chilled Prosecco. No one stopped her at the door. No one told her she could not enter. But no one met her eyes either. Not the volunteers she trained. Not the women who once asked for a photo beside her. Not even Megan. Ashley saw her by the refreshments, talking to a new board member. Their eyes met for a beat. Megan's face showed recognition, regret, and then something else. She looked away. I imagined the sound of Ashley's heels as she walked a full loop of the room, stone on stone. No one stopped her. No one called out her name. A few nods. That was it. Present, but not included. By the time she made it home, the heels felt like ankle weights. The doorman did not meet her eyes. She took the elevator up. The key card still worked, for the moment. There was a cream-colored envelope taped neatly to the apartment door. No stamp. No return address. Just her name, printed even and machine perfect. Inside was a single sheet. Notice of vacated guest privileges. Effective immediately. Per the revised lease agreement, your temporary occupancy status has been reviewed and revoked. She read it 3 times. Then once more, slow. The place she called home. The building she once used as a backdrop for photo shoots. The rooftop garden she liked to claim she designed. Gone. She slid down the door to the hallway floor with the letter clutched to her chest like a parachute that would not open. Neighbors passed. A few glances. No one stopped. Inside, the apartment was too quiet. Not peaceful. Not serene. Just dead air. The walls still held shadows from her curated past, an abstract painting she never really understood, 2 velvet chairs she swore balanced the room, and a dozen frames lined up on the console. One by one, those frames had gone dark, not in their glass, but in what they meant. That night, she sat barefoot on the couch with a glass of red wine untouched and her phone in her hand. Her thumb moved through old photos like a machine. There we were at that rooftop party. The night she wore emerald and I wore navy. People said power couple, as if it were a costume that fit us both. She remembered thinking I looked like a professor standing next to her. Another picture. Paris, a bridge, her hand tucked into my pocket, my eyes not on the camera, but on her. Birthday dinners. Fundraisers. Long tables. In every shot I was there. Not loud. Not grand. Steady. She stopped on one from the early days, me mid-laugh, glass in hand, her arms around my neck. She stared at it, eyes burning. Then, without really deciding to, she tapped call. The line rang once. I picked up. Michael. I did not fill the space. I let it sit. She swallowed. Do you even care what is happening? I let a few beats pass. When I spoke, I kept it even. You said you cared, I said, but you were not in love. It landed like a blade. She shut her eyes. That is not what I did not interrupt. I did not hang up. I waited. Please, she said, her voice cracking. Just tell me, who are you really? I let out a breath. Not cruel. Not pleased. Just honest. I am the man, I said slowly. You thought was replaceable. Click. Silence filled the room on both ends. No music. No traffic. No footsteps. The kind of quiet that does not feel empty. It feels finished. I did not want to watch her break. I am not interested in scenes. But I knew what she was feeling because I had weighed this choice for a long time. All the posturing, the image building, the curated life. None of it prepares you for a silence that speaks louder than revenge. It was not my absence that undid her. It was the understanding that I had always been more than she allowed herself to see. The next morning I got a short message from building management. Envelope delivered, privileges updated, access logs confirmed. Legal sent a note too. Revised lease acknowledged, guest status revoked, keys flagged for return. Clean. Quiet. No spotlight. That same day, the collective posted a gallery from the showcase. I glanced through it once. New faces. New names. The work continues. That is how it should be. People ask me, sometimes, why I do not raise my voice. Why I do not run to cameras and chase thank yous. The answer is simple. Legacy does not need volume. It needs clarity. You put your name where it matters, not where it trends. You put your shoulder behind the door so it opens for others. And when someone decides the work is just a stage, you turn off the lights and lock up, because the room was never meant to be a theater. I did not erase Ashley. I stopped holding her up. There is a difference.